right after this, I'm going to give you 5 reasons I think postcard sellers quit or fail in selling postcards. So with today's video, got the same type of stuff. A little different though. I got the what sold 10 cards. We'll walk through those and talk about what I think those and stuff. Won't take too long, that'll be in the beginning. But with the special topic on the postcard, it's postcards with school in the title. Schools, universities, colleges, and stuff like that, I always pick up. Some are great, some are just average, some are really good. But we're going to go through that with any postcards that had school in the title. Now I tried to trim down this query and stuff with the sell-through rates as much as possible and just get school, but you'll get school of technology, college, stuff like that. So some might slip through, but you still get in the guidelines. Still involve school postcard. And then instead of a poll, I put this together, and I've been thinking about it, playing with it for a while. But reasons why postcard sellers quit or fail. Now the reason I put quit or fail is a lot of people get into it and they quit. They didn't fail, they just don't like it. But then there's some people that get into it and do it for a couple of years and they just fail because they're just not making money or stuff like that. But we're going to get into my 5 reasons, what I think are the top 5 reasons why people fail or quit doing postcards. And then with the viewer comments, I had one about volume pricing. How do I do that? How do I get people to do that? So I'm going to show you how I have my volume pricing set up. It's probably one of the best tools, along with sending offers and eBay standard envelope that eBay has, especially for postcards. And I'll show you how I figure the money with that and if it's a good thing to do. And then someone asked me about the scheduled listings that I talked about in the video. So we're going to get into that. But down at the bottom, if you're not one that likes what's sold or the special topics, you can jump around the chapters at the bottom of the screen. I try to put it into 4 sections so you can jump right to them and stuff like that. Instead of doing 4 different videos, I just do one and you can pick out whatever you want to watch, or you can watch the whole thing, which I appreciate. Let's go ahead and get into the what's sold. What postcards sold. Like I said, I got 10 postcards sold. Won't take long to go through. First one is Camp Stewart for the boys. It's just a camp. It was 1957 posted. There's some canoes, some people standing on the side. Nothing special on there. That sold $4 to $5. Then we got the state capitol. This has got a little bit of glitter on there. State capitol, Montgomery, Alabama. It's got that little seal on there, so you probably got a series. It's undivided back. Card. And there's that heavy card stock. That sold $4 to $5. I have a video done on state capitals. You'll know why that sold on there. Then when I was in Brimfield last year, picked up, went to one booth and this guy had a bunch of these little cards, little trade cards. This is Yancey Derringer, some Western guy from a movie, Jack Mahoney or whatever. It's got little things on the back. That sold $4 to $5. I picked up about 5 of these for $1, and I think I've sold them all now for like $4 to $5. So it wasn't too bad. They sat a little while, 6 to 8 months. Yeah, about 6 to 8 months, and they're selling. So the next one here is a Soldier Monument Memorial in New York. It's a vertical card up and down. It's posted. It's the divided back. It's one of the older ones, early 1900s. This sold $4 to $5. Nothing special going on here. I didn't find anything. A lot of different cards out there about that. Next one is a stadium, and this sold $5 to $6. I always try to start stadiums and stuff at $5.65. This is the Crowd Leaving Municipal Stadium, Cleveland, Ohio. It's a linen card. Posted in 1942 on there. $5 to $6 for that one. Now the next one is from another purchase from another postcard seller, Popeye. Everybody that's in postcards for a while knows about Popeye's postcards. He's been selling since 1998 when eBay started, and he purchased 2 RPPCs. This one with a book. A guy with a book, and it's an azle triangle, so it's 1915 or so, like that. And then just a view. I didn't know what town this was. Maybe he does. Just a view of a town, and this is a Psycho stamp. If you see, it says Psycho on there. So he bought 2 RPPC cards, and he'll probably research them and get a few more dollars. Now, a lot of these, I have a lot of these RPPCs that will take some research. Like, I really don't know if this guy's Jewish or where he's at, but I put it up for $5.65, and or maybe both of these cards sold for $13.30 is what Popeye bought them for. So is there money left in here? Could be. But I'm not that big of a researcher on going down the rabbit holes with stuff like this, so I would rather price them where another reseller or somebody else, not a reseller, and buys them and goes and does the research. I don't have a problem with that because I didn't pay much for these cards. I got a whole box of them, and it will take some time to research, and the more time you put into them, the less you start losing. And I'm just not that person. I'm a quantity person from divided back down to chrome. So a lot of people say, why did you sell it for that? I got what I wanted, and I'll go buy some more chromes. Let Popeye or someone else take care of these cards and go do that. That's what I put them in there for, is to move the cards. I'm not looking for the last dollar on those. But John also, Popeye's Postcards, he sells on Whatnot, and you want to check him out there. He's on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So if you go into Whatnot, follow Popeye's Postcards, and he does tubs of postcards, sells them by the pound. The other night I bought a bunch of matted, they were in nice mats, some holiday cards. I don't do a lot of Christmas, but these were pretty neat. And I also got a frame I'm going to show in an upcoming video when they come that he had that they'll go into. And I wanted to change up the background a little bit. I said this would be great. So he was trying to do 100 of those in an hour, I think it was, or a half hour. He got through about 70, I think. But he was going fast. It was sudden death, boom, boom, boom. I got some of them for $3, $4, $5 and stuff like that. So you want to check out Popeye. Sometimes he just, what's in a box, he just pulls them out, not sorted, and he just goes through all the cards. So check out that and his YouTube channel. But I appreciate the order, John. Popeye. Next one is another multiple order. This guy bought 2 of these. These are the matted, glossy front, matted back prints of Annapolis, USS Annapolis. So he got 2 of these, and he paid $9.30 for the boat cards. Next one is kind of a saucy seaside, but it's not. It's just a chrome. Some guy's sleeping, and he has to make a decision. Does he want blue, green, or red? So it's a comic, funny card. I got like 7 more of these. I got them in a lot. They're really good condition, but it's just sold $4 to $5. I think that's the first one I sold of those. And the last one I sold was a neat one, and it sold $4 to $5. And I probably could have got a couple extra more dollars for this one. I don't know why I didn't do it, but someone got a good deal on this. Eastbourne Motel and Hotel, beautiful new swimming pool. Chrome card of a motel. I usually start these out at $5.65 and go higher. So that was a pretty good card. So my end result, my stats for the day, and remember my goals for 2023 is to raise my average sale price, do $70 a day average, and sell 14 cards a day. So how did I do for the day? I sold 10 cards, so I'm -4. But for the year, I'm right at 13, almost 14. So I'm almost right on my goal. But the other day I sold 28 cards, and then I sold 17 cards and 20 cards. So the average for the month will come close to 14 to 20 cards. Total for all these cards I showed you was $66.64. So what, $5 from 70? So not far from my goal for today. And the other day I did 200 and some dollars. So I got average for the month, not bad. And then my average sale price is going up for the year and for this. $6.66 for all these cards is the average price. I will never have $12, $20 average sale price with the cards I do. I will be in the $5 to $8 range. I know that. That's my limitations because I sell and buy the cards that sell for that. Now there is some RPPCs I sold in the last video for $25 and stuff like that. I'll get those as I go through the lots, but my average is going to be between $5 and $8, and I'm fine with that because I buy them low. I don't have a lot of overhead, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and talk about school postcards here, but remember, stick around. Right after this, I'm going to give you 5 reasons I think postcard sellers quit or fail in selling postcards, and then in the viewer comments we'll talk about volume pricing, discounts. let's talk about schools. Everybody doing postcards for a while have seen school postcards. They have the older ones, the newer ones, the chromes. They're just all over. And school is in the title. Always great to pick those up because someone has nostalgic about it. Some people don't even want to talk about their school days, but a lot of people like the history, especially towns and small towns and stuff like that. But while I talk about some of the facts and little history about schools, and it's always good to have an understanding about the subject on there. So I go out and I find this information and I try to drill it down to a small little conversation about the cards, so you have a good base to build on. You got to have a good foundation to build on. If you build a house on quicksand, it's going to fall no matter what you put in it. But if you have a good foundation, the house can burn down and you can always rebuild. But if you don't have a good foundation of your business, it's always going to be a rocky road. So by talking through these little history about schools will help build that foundation and make it more stable when you're looking for these cards. But here we go. The history of schools in the United States can be traced back to the early colonial period. In the 17th century, education was primarily provided by parents or tutors within the home. I think they do homeschooling today. However, as communities grew, the need for formal education arose. The first public school in the United States, the Boston Latin School, was established in 1635 and set a precedent for public education in the country. This marked the beginning of the system that would evolve and expand over the centuries. And remember, centuries are hundreds of years. During the 18th and 19th centuries, the United States experienced a significant transformation in its educational landscape. The influence of European educational philosophies, such as those of John Locke and Jean Jacques Rousseau, I'll put that down at the bottom, you know me with names, played a crucial role in shaping American schools. The concept of common schools emerged, aiming to provide education to all children, regardless of their social or economic background. Horace Mann, a prominent education reformer, advocated for free public education and the establishment of state boards of education. His efforts led to the widespread adoption of public schools across the country. In the 20th century, the United States witnessed further advancements and changes in the education system. The progressive era brought about new ideas and approaches to schooling, and emphasizing child-centered education and practical learning experiences. The introduction of compulsory education laws in most states ensured that all children received a minimum level of education. The civil rights movements in the 1950s and 1960s brought attention to racial segregation in schools, leading to a landmark Supreme Court case such as Brown versus Board of Education, which declared segregation unconstitutional. These legal battles mark significant milestones in the ongoing struggle for educational equality. Today, schools in the United States continue to evolve and face various challenges. The introduction of standardized testing, debates over curriculum content, and ongoing discussions about school funding and resource allocation are just a few of the issues that shape the educational landscape. The United States has a diverse range of schools, including public, private, and charter schools. You'll see those different ones on postcards, and you want to get those in your titles, each with its own unique characteristics and challenges. Despite the complexities, the history of schools in the United States reflects a commitment to providing accessible and quality education to all its citizens. Striving for progress and equality is the pursuit of knowledge. Collecting vintage school postcards has become a hobby for many enthusiasts. These postcards provide a unique glimpse into the educational history of different regions and offer insights into the architecture, teaching methods, and students' life of the past. Some collectors focus on specific themes, such as postcards featuring one-room schoolhouses, while others seek postcards from a particular era, or geographic location. The value of vintage school postcards can vary depending on factors such as rarity, hard to find, condition, and historical significance. So you saw a lot of different postcards out there with school on them that I showed across the screen, and I talked about the educational thing. And it's very important with that. Like my father-in-law, I think he's only got up to a 9th grade education or 8th grade. So he doesn't have all the schooling, the 12 grades and the college and stuff like that. Now the generation before that might only got up to 6th grade because they had to work on the farms or do different things. People in major cities might have got a little bit more. So the generation gap of people not able to read and stuff, there is some people that still can't read and stuff like that just because of the opportunities they had. But that it's not as it was years ago, as we see. But education is very important in anything you do, and we're going to discuss that in the 5 reasons why postcard people quit or fail. But how did postcards come out with the sell-through rate? Sell-through rate is basically sold divided by listed times 100 gives you a percent. It's just a gauge. Not trying to land someone on the moon or Mars. Not trying to be the most scientific or right down to the card. I just want to see some outliers. Where does it fall? And I've been putting up this little chart the last couple of videos because people ask me, and I said, I need to clear this up a little bit. Why do I say it's average, whatever? So in my head, this is my gauge. So at the bottom, you got 0 to 3%, which is low. That's red. I stay away from those. QSL cards, Niagara Falls, stuff like that. If it's in the red, I'm not actually sourcing. I will get them in lots and stuff like that, but if a box has a lot of the cards that are 3% and below, I'm probably going to pass on that box or not pay much for it because I'm not going to do anything with those cards. So you want to stay away from those cards. Now, will the demand change on those cards over time? Sure, but it's not going to do it overnight. Then you get into the average cards. This is what pays the bills. This is the cards that will pay the bills and put money in your pocket. The 4 to 7% average cards that people are looking for. They're not going to pay a lot of money for them. Some they do. There's always outliers. And then some, are lower. So these are the ones I target, is the 4 to 7%. With divided back down the chrome, especially the chromes are going to fall in the 4 to 7% range. And I sell a lot of them. As you see, I sold 10 for $65. I might have 50 cents on all those cards, if that. What else? Can you sell toasters for that? No. So it depends on the average, but I like to stay in the average area. And then when the other one comes in, the next one is high, 8 to 10% of sell-through rate is your higher cards. That's some of your unique ones, different places, your casinos, maybe your motels, skis and stuff. And then you get the ones that just are off the chart, the outliers, the 11 and higher plus. That's your ski resorts like Sun Valley in Idaho, as you see, the Mermaids, the McDonald's, the Disneys. Those are the very high ones. So you want to have a good mixture of this whole chart and stay away from the bottom ones. If you're listing 1,000 Niagara Falls cards, you have a 0 to 3% chance of one of those selling. Yeah, you might sell some, but they're not going to go for that quick and stuff like that. So you want to pick out an area where you want to be. My model right now is 4 to 7% average cards. But I thought I would put this little gauge up here. Now, could this gauge change? Sure, it's just me. I created it. I can change that, but I don't change it overnight. This is going to be my chart for a while. It's what I've been using in my head on there. So you want to stay in the green. But I went out there and I said postcard space school. Now there is some minus college, minus this, minus that in there on the query to try to get it down. But am I going to get it right down to the card and not get a school plaque or something? Probably not. I'm not going to look through 140,000 cards and take each one out. I just want to be in that ballpark of the 4 to 7, 8 to 10, 11 plus, or 0 to 3. I want to be on that road. Where does this fall? Now if I do this, there was 7,700 sold school postcards. And this is over a 90-day period on eBay. I just go in there and type postcard school and it's up at the top, and then I click sold and it's there too. But there's 140,000 listed. It's a lot of cards. 10 by 100 to get a nice little percent, and I round up or down 6%. And if you go back to my chart here, that's an average card. So most of the cards moving through the eBay system with school on them, they're average. There will be a little bit higher, maybe some lowers, but majority are average cards at 6%. But if you bump it up against not just the chart here, but other sell-through rates. Remember, this isn't price. We'll get into price in a second. This is the number of cards just moving through eBay. It's just a snapshot. Postcard University, 10%. So if you got a choice between college or university on a card, the Postcard University seems to be moving a little bit better. Postcard Schools, 6%. Academy, I put Academy in there because I saw that on some of the cards, 6%. So school and Academy, I think eBay might be kind of saying that it might be the same, but if you, not really, because if you look at the sold and the number of cards, 140,000 to 17,000 listed, and 7,700 sold and 1,000. So they're not really comparing it like they did with something like Pepsi and Coke and stuff. So academies are 6%. And then college, Postcard College, 100,000. A lot of college postcards, 5%. So it's an average card. School cards are average cards. But there can be, like I always said, there's outlier. Now, does this mean if you buy these cards, you're going to sell them? No, this is just says these sell better than anything in the red. QSL, Niagara Falls, stuff like that. It just gives you a better educational guess instead of just going out there, oh, that looks cool. Oh, this looks cool. I'm going to put this one for $7. I'm going to buy a box of these. Well, that view card there of a street and on there might have a 0 to 3%. Don't pick those up if you don't want to. It's just a guideline is all it is. It's better than just, when you go to a box of cards and you sit down for the first time, you're probably sitting there like, what am I looking for? Me, I just buy the whole box. If I go through it real quick, how much you want for the box? If it's too much, then I'll go through and I'll cherry pick the cards. But if you look through and you look through the sell-through rates and the videos I have, it'll get you, it's all geared to go through a box of cards pretty quick and say, yeah, this is, if you find 60% of card in a box of 1,000 cards, and if I find 60% of them are good, average or above cards, I'm going to buy that box. Now, if it's down toward the average part, I'm not going to pay that much, but if it's got some higher ones in there, and that majority of those are higher, then my price goes up that I'll offer. So that's what you can use the sell-through rates for. And then when you get home, you do more detail on there. You get into each card, and you say, oh, this is an outlier, I need to do a little bit more work, or this is an average card, I've sold this before. Now we're going to get into some extreme pricing, I call it, or high priced ones. I go out there and I go into eBay and I figure out what's selling for higher. Look at this one. This is very rare. RPPC 1928 view of town schoolhouse sent to Bartlett, Oregon. $152.50 with 9 bids, free shipping. Look at that card. It's the name on the card, I think, is the research and stuff on there, but there's really not much. It's kind of faded. It's a real photo postcard. $152. Next one here was a public school building in Demopolis, Alabama, 1907. It's got a writing tab on it. Older school, $120 with $4 shipping. RPPCs again. That's where your higher dollars are. 1910s, Osborne, Kansas High School construction. This was when they were building. You'll see a lot of these when they're building the schools too. I've seen $88, $87.50 on there. And let's see, 2 of these were buy it now and 1 was an auction. So you're looking right there. There's $250 worth of in 3 postcards of a school. So if you get real photo postcards, you want to go through and look at those. And they sell themselves because I figure that's a different type of a niche, and they sell themselves. It depends on the research you do and what you find on them, because a lot of them are unique, hard to find, one of a kinds. So they kind of sell themselves. So I kind of separate those from what we see every day that pays the bills. These are great to find in lots and do the research and find them on there. But here's some average cards that you're going to see out there in the boxes and stuff like that and come across. So the first one here is just California School, $38. They said it's hand colored. You can look and pretty well tell that. $38. And this is the sold highs off of eBay. And then you got the Allen High School in California, $30. And then St. Mary's School, so this is probably a private school or charter school or whatever, took a best offer on $30, probably $25. So the average cards are between $25 and $30 for select cards. But as we saw the sell-through rate, it's average. Some of these cards are probably for that one person. I don't know if I would sell multiple cards to one person, or if they said, I think most of my, if I don't sell a lot of school cards. They pick out just like some of the other ones. They're not real high demand or real low. It's just average. Went out there and got $30, and people will pay up on them. Now, if you put all your school cards at $30, will they sell? Maybe a couple, but a lot of them are probably going to sit. Then you get into sold lows. You got the 99 cents, $1.35, and $1.89. It's just not much there. They start these off a little higher. You can probably do a lot better and have more fun, and at the end of the month have some money. But those are the averages. Now it's interesting, when I went through and I was looking through postcards on eBay to find out for this video and just show examples, this popped up. And you're saying, what is that? I go, it's a school bus. Is that a postcard for $11,600? No. It's actually a school bus for sale in the postcard category. It's an actual bus. So if you want to buy a bus in the postcard category, that's where it is. So it's a school bus. But at schools, to sum them up, the ups, they're average cards. They're not in the red. 2, some of them have sold for pretty good money. I wouldn't say it's a down, but there's just a lot of them. And I wouldn't pass them up. If I seen a box full of schools, I've actually bought big lots of schools and universities and colleges and stuff and put them up. I know they're going to sit, but I didn't pay top dollar for them because I know they're going to sit on there. But it's better than picking up QSL cards or Niagara Falls and stuff like that. So they will sell. But that's school postcards. Who knew? So instead of doing a poll this week or different data, I thought I would talk about reasons why postcard sellers quit or fail. A lot of people quit. They don't fail, they just quit. But I put fail in there because some people just keep going and they're failing. I came up with 5 reasons just off the top of my head why I think some people struggle and they end up quitting or failing postcards. First one is buying wrong. They're buying postcards wrong. Number 2 is knowledge. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of these. 3 is time. How much time it takes to sell postcards and reselling as a whole. 4 is pricing. They're either pricing too low, too high, or they're just can't make a decision. And then 5 is cash flow. So let's go back to number 1, buying wrong. What do I mean by that? Why do I think that's one? And there's no certain order here. I just put them in there. It's not like the number 1 reason. But one of the things when you buy postcards you look at is you look at cost per card. Now remember, your average card's quantity rules. Your real photo, unique cards, higher end, they sell themselves. They're a niche to themselves in my eyes. But I'm talking about average cards here that you're going to see every day that pays the bills, that you can push out, you can just sell. Cost per card. People say, oh, they're 100 years old. They must be worth $1 a piece. I've had people call me and said they spent $500 on 100 cards. And I look at them and they're just plain birthday cards. Might be a couple good ones in there. And then I break down the cost per card with them. And they said, oh, I need to sell these at $10 to make any money. And the market's not bearing that. So when you're buying cards, you want to look at the cost per card. One white box holds about 800 to 1,000 cards. I always say about 800 in there. But for 1,000 cards, I started at $100. That's 10 cents a card. That's my starting point in my head. So if I see a box of cards, a long box, I figured 1,000 cards, 10 cents a card, $100. Plus shipping if it's going to be shipped. I look through the box. I look for 60% of good cards, good sell-through rate, things are going to move. okay, and then 40% are going to be lower value, things I don't do anything with, or they're going to sit for a while. If I can find that 60%, they get the $100 basically. We still negotiate, but that's my starting point. Now, if I look in the box and I see a lot of wiki-watching mermaids, a lot of good cards, a lot of high sell-through rates, I might go up a little bit, knowing that I'm going to return my money pretty quick. Another thing is they buy the wrong cards. They haven't learned enough yet what to stay away from. And that's what sell-through rate gives you. There's other things, but it's a tool that you can use to help you learn what to look for. And then with your experience, you'll understand what cards sell better and what don't. Like Caribbean, different things, McDonald's, Disney. You start turning those cards over and you learn what to buy. But in the beginning, it's kind of tough when you walk up to a big white box and you start thumbing through it and you're saying, well, this looks cool, but they don't sell. Why? Many reasons, but they just don't sell. Also, a lot of people will go out and buy lots off of eBay. Not to dish the people that sell the lots on there, but if you're reselling, you're serious about it, you need to be careful when you're buying lots online from other resellers. Check their stores. And if they're have postcards in there, most likely that those lots have been picked through. But I'll leave it up to you and the seller to understand that. What you want to look for is people that like buy storage units and they sell hard goods. They don't want anything to do with postcards. They're just going to put them in a box and put them up. That's what you want to look for when you're buying online. A lot of good stuff online, a lot of good auctions. You just got to be very careful in what you're getting. A lot of times also you got to make sure it's not the smell of smoke, musty, what's the condition of the cards. You take a little bit of a chance. A lot of people when they buy postcards don't figure in the ship. A white box of postcards over on my shelf here is 10 pounds a piece. So I got 7 boxes across the shelf, that's 70 pounds. That's why we got 3 brackets underneath there. I don't want us to bow, but that's 70 pounds, 10 pounds a box. So it's going to cost to ship postcards, so you always got to figure that in the cost per card. But I wouldn't go out if I'm just starting postcards and buy. Look for what you can list in the next 3 to 6 months. Then as they come up, you're going to start seeing postcards more than you ever saw. You're going to be more aware of postcards, and then you're going to learn what to sell. But buy your first 1,000 cards, list your first 1,000 cards, and go from there. You'll learn a lot in the first 1,000 cards. So that's buying wrong. You got to buy right. That's where the money is. Me, I can sell my cards at a lower price because, one, I don't do a lot of promoting. I don't do a lot of sales. I don't do best offer. And I buy the cards as cheap as possible. A fair deal, but I want the chips stacked up in my corner. So if I'm going to buy 100 cards and they're just average cards, I'll give you $10 for it. That's about it. And, that's my starting point, and I might not even give that. Now, if they're very unique cards and stuff like that, I might even go higher, do that. But you want to be careful when buying cards. That's where you make your money. You can't spend a lot of money on average cards and expect them, because they sit. Some do well, but most of them will sit. Number 2 is knowledge. I talk about knowledge because people see other people selling postcards, but they don't know the whole story. That one person might have been doing it for 30 years. So they don't even think about some of the things that you need to learn. There's always a learning curve. Just like sports. People that make it to the NBA and stuff, when you go to play sports, basketball or baseball, you got to learn how to throw, you got to learn how to run the bases, you got to learn the rules, you got to learn the batting, the positions, what you're good at, and you got to go out and practice. So you just don't get a glove, a uniform, and a hat and go out on the field and expect to play baseball. You have to practice and learn. This is the same with everything else you do. Just because you bought a nice fancy scanner and you got a nice thermal printer and you got all the sleeves and you got the boxes, you got everything in place, you're all dressed up, but you have nowhere to go because you need a good foundation. Knowledge is a foundation where you build your house on, your store, your business on. If that foundation is solid, anything you build up at the top, if it falls down, you still got that foundation to grow on. A lot of people get overconfident with postcards. They hear a few names, Clapsaddle, stuff like that, Wench, or they real photo postcards, or they sell one postcard for $20, and then the other ones don't sell because they start listing stuff in there. They get overconfident. Just because you got a real photo or a Clapsaddle doesn't mean it's worth $100. There's so many out there, and sometimes there's copies too that you got to look at. So don't get overconfident. I will never learn everything on postcards. I know a little bit about a lot, and I know a lot about a few of them. But as doing these videos for the last 2 years, that's why I'm doing this too, is for myself. A little selfish, I guess, but I'm growing my foundation on the types of cards. I can go through a box of cards pretty quick, and I can pick out a good handful of cards that'll pay for my day. But that didn't come overnight. You need to learn your eras, your undivided back, your divided back, your white border, your linen, your chrome, stuff like that. You need to get those placed in there. You need to understand the golden age of postcards, and you need to understand how many postcards are out there. These are not toasters. These have been around for a long time, and there's billions of them out there. You need to learn a little bit about the history, so you understand you can talk to talk and walk to walk. If you're selling on eBay, you need to understand eBay standard envelope. If you're not using it, your competitors are. 90% of your competitors are. They're shipping for 60 cents, 84 cents, and you're doing first class at $5 or whatever. They're winning all day long. So you need to understand eBay standard envelope. And I have videos on my videos about that, and there's help files and stuff. It's very easy to use. Print, peel, and stick. No problem. And shipping. Put up your first 1,000 postcards, sell them, ship them. You're going to understand the shipping. But you need to get shipping under control too. So a lot of knowledge around there. And one of the pitfalls, I think, with knowledge as people get going is they chase feedback and returns. They get all upset about feedback and returns. You put all this time in, and you got 100 feedback, and then your 101st feedback is a neutral or negative, and then they just want to give up. Don't let feedback take you down that thing. Feedback is feedback. It's part of business. Same with returns. You put everything you could into the description. You did everything right, and the person wants to return it. Just take the return. It's not, you don't have, if you bought the card right, you don't have a lot in there. It's part of business. I've only had one return this year. Well, from 7 months into the, 8 months into the year. It happens. It will come in spurts. When I did toys, I had a corner in my fish room. I just put the box there. If I knew I got it back, everything's fine, I'd put it in the corner. Then later on, I'd go through the 10 boxes after 6 months. Okay, yeah, I can resell this. No, that's got to go to the flea market. I don't fight. It's just part of it. So price your stuff knowing that you're going to get some returns. And don't spend the money until you know everything's good. One of the YouTubers out there said, if you can't afford to lose it, don't list it. If you don't have the card in your hand, don't list it. And if you don't have a way to ship it, don't list it. Those are the three things that always stuck in my head. I always had a box to ship my stuff in before I even listed it. And don't get caught up when you get into the knowledge of comparing yourself to others. Don't compare yourself to me or somebody else. It's a real dangerous place to be. You don't know the whole story. You don't know what they got back and behind them. You don't know what they paid for the cards and stuff like that. Comparing yourself to others every day is not a good thing. It's just, people get really upset because why is he selling cards and I'm not? He might have been doing it for 10 years. Or he has a group of people that he associates with. He's not going to tell you. He's not going to tell you all the tricks and stuff like that. I'm pretty transparent. There might be a few things I haven't talked about, but I don't do it on purpose. But I'm not doing anything different than a normal, regular, average postcard seller does. And one of the things is get a budget. What can you spend every month and stuff like that? And don't overbuy. You can buy yourself out of business. Just be careful. And remember, there's 7 to 9 million postcards listed on eBay at any one time. There's not one thing in a listing that's going to get you to sell all your cards at once or more than anybody else. It's just being consistent with good prices, with cards people want, with good sell-through rates, ship in 1 or 2 days, and basically that's going to do it. The picture sells a lot of it. Then the third thing, we went over buying wrong knowledge. I'm just hitting a little bit on there, and I got some homework at the end for us. I appreciate if you guys can help me out at the end. Is time. People don't consider the time it takes to list postcards or do reselling. They just see people doing it on YouTube or whatever. There's a lot to it, and ones that have been doing it for a while, some of you just starting, some have been doing it a while, knows it takes up a lot of time. A regular average postcard seller that's serious about it, selling and listing postcards a lot every day, will put up approximately 10,000 cards a year. That's with selling and everything. You're going to gain 10,000 cards, and that's pushing it a little bit because some cards take more research than others. So if you see a store with 20,000 cards, they've been doing it over a year, 2 years. Set goals with your time that you can meet. Don't say I'm going to list 500 cards today. It's not going to happen. It's too much. Just go in there and start slow. I'm going to list 10 cards a day, then build up to 15, then build up to 20. Because pretty soon you're going to look at this card and you're going to know that's going to start about $5, $6. This card here, it's a retro, modern interiors, it's an advertising card. So you're going to comp this card a little heavier. Where if you just put up Chinese restaurant, you're going to look at that one a little bit more. But you get one of a train, you might that's an average card. A Texas Alamo, very touristy card, that's going to be your minimum rate. So you're going to fly through those, but in the beginning, you don't know that yet. So listing, figure out what you want to do. If you want to use a third-party tool like 6-Bit, you want to use eBay, don't reinvent the wheel doing that. There's no reason to try to reinvent the wheel. Use what you like. I don't use the third-party stuff because I'm comfortable with what I have right now. It's in my system and stuff. I don't know 6-Bit. I can't say it's good or bad, but what I hear, it's a pretty good application. And it does back up your stuff like that, but there is a learning curve to it. That's another thing you got to learn. Same with eBay listing tool. You have to learn what to do. Use their templates. So each one has pros and cons. Everybody does it differently and stuff like that. But don't try to reinvent the rule when it comes to inventory either. There's 2 ways to do inventory that I see out there that works well. One of them is you get dividers in your box, and you have another divider. You label this one 1. You label this one divider 2. In between there, you put about 20 to 50 cards in between. Some people use different ones. And your SKU number, on eBay or whatever site, where is it located, you put number 1. So when it sells, it's in this stack of cards. Now don't load this up in the middle with 400 cards, because you're going to have to look through 400 cards or half of those every time you sell a postcard. I've seen one person that had 400 cards in between each divider, and every time they sold a card they had to spend 10 minutes going through all the cards on there. But that does work well. A lot of people use that way. There's another way that I use. I'm not saying there's pros and cons to each one. There's no way you can do it differently. But I have numbers, a SKU number on each one. I do not reuse the numbers because I'm not going to manage it that way. To go in there, so I sold card 2030 today. I pull it out and I got the envelope or the label on the thing. I'm not going to save that and then go put that back. I just keep moving forward. That way my last card, my newest cards are in the last box. My oldest card's in the top. I'm going to make mistakes. The less you touch the cards once you list them, the less mistakes you'll have. You start moving that inventory around, you're going to make human mistakes. But don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't say rack 1, shelf 1, box A, divider 2, halfway. Just put a number or a letter on it. Just say it's in box A. How many boxes? You're the only one basically going to go in there. And make sure you're the only one that gets to your inventory. Or you secure the area, whatever, and limit the access. You don't want to not have item not received or you canceled because you couldn't find a card. It will happen. It happens to all of us. I haven't had one in a long time. Mine's not foolproof, this inventory system, but it works for me. So I always tell people, just get a system. Just don't throw them in a shoebox in there, because a lot of people start off and they get 500,000 cards and this is easy. All of a sudden they get up to 3,000 to 4,000 cards and they're spending half their day looking cards, and every time a big sale comes in, they just cringe because they got to jump through hoops to find all these cards on there. I can pull a card pretty quick out of mine, and people with the dividers can too. So those are two ways with inventory. But again, do not try to invent the wheel. They've been doing, if there was an easier way to do postcards, it would have been invented by now. They've been doing this on eBay since the 90s. But everybody has their little ways of doing it. But just know it will take time to grow. I didn't see consistent sales until I got about 5,000 to 6,000 postcards. Good sell-through rate postcards, average cards, and some very good cards. So it takes time. So if you dump a lot of money into it, you're not going to get that back right away on some of them. Now there is people, prodigies out there that started a postcard store and they take off like a rock and they're just doing great right away. It just depends how you market yourself and how you do it and how much time you put into it. But don't burn yourself out trying to do 500 cards a day to catch up some guy that has 20,000 cards up, because it's going to take 2 years to get up there. I don't care what you list, you just don't have it on there. So we talked about buying wrong, knowledge, time, reasons why people quit or fail postcards. Next one is pricing too high or low. Pricing is a passionate thing with people. Some people look at this card and say that's a $15 card or $30 card. I look at this card, I know I'm starting at about $5, $6 and it'll go up and won't be no lower than that. I look at the lowest I need, because this card right here, I might have a penny in it. And I'm going to sell it for $5 to $6. Very simple. And I touch it 4 times. When I buy it, when I scan it, when I list it, and when I sell it. So I keep my time down on it too. Comping won't take long for that. I take the title and dump it into WorthPoint or eBay and just get an average, and it falls in one of my buckets. I put the best price out there. I don't do best offers. I send offers, but I don't do best offers. I don't play the phone game where I'm on the phone all day sending offers for $5 cards. That's my best price. Once in a while I'll see a message, someone comes in and wants a boat card for $3.50 or something. Very few and far between. I probably had a half a dozen this year. That's about it. If I see them, I don't look for them. For $4 to $8 cards, there's not a lot of room for me, and people can go buy them from somebody else at a cheaper price. I need to have a certain amount of money. It's done all different ways. You just got to pick something and stick with it. When people ask me what this card's worth, if they send me something, I don't do the Antique Roadshow. I hate giving prices, because my number is never going to be the number that you have in your head. When people comping, when you're pricing, they will sit there and look through the comps and the solds and the listeds and stuff until they find the number they're looking for. They're going to look at the highest number. Don't fall in that trap. Take the average. And then look how many are out there listed sometimes and how many are sold. But if it's an average card, don't get caught in a rabbit hole for a $4 or $5 card. Pick your best price, move on. Your better cards and stuff, yeah, spend the time with those because you'll get a return. You will not be rewarded for all the time you spend comping a Grand Canyon card that's not a Fred Harvey of a bush. It's a view card. You're not going to be rewarded for that as much as you would if it was a Fred Harvey, rare, hard to find one, and stuff like that. Those you want to research a little bit more, but pick your battles. But pricing, figure out what you paid for it, figure out what it's going to cost to ship or whatever, all the costs, your envelopes and everything, and that's where you need to be on your margin. 40, 50% you want out of it or whatever. That's your minimum for that card. If it's too high that you need, maybe you need to lot them up and stuff like that. You can do different things. You can't sell a $5 card for $50. Someone might buy it, that one seller out there and buyer out there, but I don't bank on the 100-year flood. So just be careful with pricing. And the last one I got is cash flow. People need to understand cash flow in a business. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what puts money in your pocket, and that's what keeps you moving to keep doing it. When you look at the end of the month and you got money you can go out and spend to buy more postcards or get that piece for your motorcycle or another fancy mouse because you sold postcards. Reward yourself with your money. Whatever's left at the end of the month, take at least 15% of that and put it away to do whatever you want. You have to reward yourself for it. I see so many people that sell a lot of postcards. Some sellers out there, they They sell a lot of postcards, and for good money. But they're fighting to buy the big lots because they don't have any money. Because they keep putting back into the business. Figure out a budget about putting it back into the business. You can't put everything back, but when you first start up, it's tough. You're going to dump so much money from your personal end to get started, buying the scanners and stuff. You need to recoup that. So maybe the first year and a half, you're not doing as well, but you're going to reach a point, if you're serious about it, where you're going to start putting more profits in your thing once you pay for the stuff. So there is a little investment to do things. But right away, don't buy that $400 scanner. Use your camera or your phone or whatever until you really say, yeah, this is what I want to do. I've seen a lot of people get all dressed up and then sell off everything. But cash flow is important. It's how I put cash flow is you got to have more coming in than going out. So you got to have more dollars, tangible dollars, than you're spending in expenses. Don't want to go out there and pay for a $30 a month software if you don't have more than $30 coming in. You don't want to go out and buy a $400 scanner on a credit card and you got to pay $30 a month and you don't have $30 coming in. It will come, but you just got to make sure you have there. In the beginning, you might be a little lopsided, but you might want to sell some lots or something to get that cash flow to pay those bills coming in. Don't over promote. You got to manage your expenses. Don't promote so high that you're paying people to buy stuff. If you're promoting your listings, you need to make sure that's built into your price. It's a cost of doing business. Chasing hills and valleys. You're going to have good days and bad days. Don't ride that. You want to have a nice medium trend. You won't get tired. And you got to have different varieties in your store. Now, you can be a niche store with just real photo and stuff like that, but expect your valleys, your low sale days to be a lot more than the high. But you can bring good money in by doing that because you're making good profit on those cards, but they don't sell as fast. You won't get that ka-ching as often, but you might bring more to the bottom line, but you will have a little bit of a waiting game. If you're in a position where you can wait, that's a perfect niche to get into, but you need to understand the knowledge to sell cards like that, because you might leave some money on the table, overpriced, or you won't be able to answer the questions that people ask you of those cards. You got to have some fast movers in there, some Disney, some Wiki-Wachi mermaids, just some average thing. You want to have a good variety in there. You want to have 150 QSL cards or 1,000 QSL cards. 2% sell rate. You don't want the Kansas City State Capitol. What's moving through eBay right now is about 2%. You might have a couple. Natural Bridge, Niagara Falls, Grand Canyon that aren't Fred Harvey, Yellowstone that aren't a Haynes. Just different things. You know, Empire State Building in New York. They sell, but they don't sell for the top dollar, but they do bring cash in. So you need a variety of different cards. So those are the 5 things, and I touched a little bit on them. I could talk forever about topics of things on there. So we talked about buying wrong. We talked about knowledge. Learn your errors. Get your good foundation. Ask questions here. Time. Don't set unrealistic goals. It's a marathon. It will take you time to build up. But there is prodigies where people take off right away, but few and far between. Work at the average. Pricing, very passionate people out there about that. It's a huge market. 7 to 9 million postcards out there. These are collectibles. People with disposable income buy these cards. And then cash flow. Healthy business. For the homework I talked about, I'm going to ask everyone if they could leave number 6 or 7 in the comments, because I just picked 5 off the top of my head. Well, I'd really appreciate it if you could put in the comments other things that you think pitfalls that people fall into quitting or failing postcards or reselling as a whole. What do people do? What do you think have you seen, or what have you done yourself? I want to hear this, because I don't want to get stuck just in this office here, a talking head. I want other people's opinions as well. Then also going forward, we looked at the negatives, but what things make a postcard seller successful? Leave that in the comments. I'll start you off with one, and you guys probably know what it is. But what makes a postcard seller successful? Get some of these like knowledge is you want to join a group of like-minded people, like here on this channel. Become part of the SM Postcard group here. Comments, read the comments, watch the videos, the community tabs. Ask questions. That's how you become one of the things to become successful, and share your experiences with others. There's no right or wrong way. It's whatever it's going to work. Join a group of like-minded people, and that's what I wanted to create here, plus learn myself from the videos. So that's the reasons for why postcard sellers quit or fail. Now we're going to get into viewer comments. After all that mumbo jumbo, the wandering ghoul, zombie for short, sent a message. I was wondering what's your trick for getting people to buy multiple quantities, volume discounts, buying more than one card. I have the volume pricing on. I've only ever had one buyer purchase multiple card order, but I also only have about 500 plus cards listed. I have a couple thousand, but they're not up yet. So what's your trick? I don't think it's a trick. I just have volume discounts, and I sell a lot of multiple orders. It's taken time. Now, you said you have 500 cards. If your pricing's there and you got good cards and they're in a same type of theme, people are going to buy them. I sell probably more in my naval ship cards. I would say that's probably 60% of my volume because they're the same theme. I sell a lot of, say, 5 cards New Jersey, 6 cards New York. But I went back and looked at my volume pricing, and eBay tells you what the average size sale is for your thing. 3. So most people are buying 3 cards at one time from me. I've had people buy 20, 30 cards, but stuff like that, but those are outliers. So it's usually 3 cards is what the average size of the order is. But I wanted to show that there really isn't a trick, and I'll show you how I have mine set up. So I went out, I haven't looked at this in a while because it's been set up for, I think it's 2019 is when it was set up or whatever on there. It was just set up forever. The first screen here is the volume pricing. So when you go and you create an offer or whatever volume pricing. I probably would have to think about it because I haven't done it. You do it once and just let it go is what I do. But if you notice, I put volume pricing, and then I put, if you buy 1 item, there's no discount. If you buy 2, it's kind of grayed out a little bit. I got 5%. So if you buy 2 cards, it's 5%. 3 cards is 10%. 4 or more cards, you get 15%. So if they buy 4 cards, they get 15% off. Now, if my average price is $5, that's $20. They get $3 off that order. That's about 70 cents a card. So I price it that way. But also I do free shipping, and my 60 cents for ESE is built into the price of the card. I can put 4 postcards into an envelope for 84 cents. So if I'm getting 60 times 4, that's $2.40. Am I saving a little bit there? No, I'm probably losing about 50 cents. But I sold 4 cards for $20. Now let's go back to the 3. 3 times 60 cents is $1.80. I can put 3 cards in an envelope for one 60-cent shipping. I just made $1.22 more because I don't refund shipping because they get a discount. That's another thing volume discount does, is I don't do that combined shipping refunding. I got free shipping. I don't have to refund these people in there. I don't refund them $1 or $2. That's when people ask me, do you combine shipping? I said, if you buy multiple cards, we have a volume discount that takes care of that, and they get that. So I very rarely will discount shipping unless it's a big order and it's going the first class or that ground advantage thing now or priority, and I got it cheaper. I will sometimes send the money back if it's excessive. But with the free shipping, I don't deal with all that. I don't refund it. I don't think I've refunded someone on an order of postcards that was other than ground advantage or priority in a long time. Where if I put a card up there for $4.50 and 84 cents shipping, and they bought 10 cards, they see the shipping, they want a refund of that. That's why. So free shipping has one benefit with the volume discounts. I tell people, there's my discount. When you buy more, that's what discounts it. And they're happy. Never had a problem. But if you go through here and put all that in there, down at the bottom it says inventory. It's add or remove rules. Here's the rule I put in. All inventory selected. It's on everything in my store. Everything. Because it's just a postcard store, magazine ads, and some other photos and stuff. You buy more than 1 item, or 2 or more items, if you get some kind of discount in my store. Heck yeah! So that's what I have it set up. So if I list a card, it automatically gets put into the volume discounts on there. So that, and down at the bottom there on the first one, yeah, so I got it set out to February 28, 2029. I just go as far as it'll let me go. Because I'm not going to change, if I change it, which I haven't, I've had the same thing forever. And what's neat is that on a lot of the listings says save up to 15% when you buy more in red. But that's all I did. I don't think there's a trick to it. But you got to give a discount that's worth it. So I see a lot of people send coupons for 5% or run a sale for 5% off. That's sales tax. Less than sales tax. Give them a discount. Once in a while, I will I'll put a sale up. I'll go in there and I'll do one markdown sale, and I'll say 30%, and I let it pick 10,000 items. I don't care what it is, between $4 and $8. And I put a price range. So it doesn't get my $70 lunchbox or whatever like that. I let it pick between $4 and $7, the first 10,000, and I let it go. So perfect example is July 4th. The weekend after July 4th, I figured a little slow. I haven't thrown a sale on once in a while. I'll start it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, end it Sunday night. I do it for 3 days or 2 days. Over the weekend, get it in. And I'm selling cards low, but it gets new people in. What I usually gain by doing that is followers in the store. If you go to 3 thrift stores, say you're outsourcing not just postcards or whatever, you go to 3 thrift stores. The first one you go to, you walk in, it's a mess. Nothing's priced. You just a big long wait at the counter. No one's around to help. That's the first one. Second one you go into, it's not cluttered. Everything's priced, reasonable. Once in a while you find some really good items there for a good price, but most of the time you can walk out with a good shopping cart of stuff that you can make money on at a reasonable price. And the service is great. You get in and out, no problem. Then the last one you walk into, everything is just so high priced. It's ridiculous. You can never find anything, maybe one item out of every 10 trips. The next time you go out to thrift stores, where would you go first? You're not going to go to the messy place. You're not going to go to the high price place. You're going to go to the middle place. Just like the 3 bears. This one's too hot, this one's too cold, and this one's just right. So you want to be the just right store. Your porridge needs to be the best. Your postcards is the way I think of it. So people want to come in and get a good deal, and they keep coming back. So you keep going to that thrift store. You're spending $100 3 or 4 times a week. They're getting $400 a week out of you, where the other stores, they're not getting anything. So they're making money because people are coming back, buying and buying and buying. So it's an average game as well. But there's no trick to volume pricing. But this is exactly what I have set up. Nothing hiding here. Nothing special. Thanks, Wandering Ghoul. All right, next one is, this is a real simple one. I get this question all the time too. This is from Claire. Hello, Mark. Thank you for sharing your insights, experiences, ideas, etc. I'm really grateful, and I'm new to this. I have a couple of pretty basic questions. First, about the Epson and other scanners you've recommended. Most of my postcards are quite old and seem to be fragile to go through a roller. Do you ever find that the flatbed scanner is better? No. Have you ever damaged cards in an Epson? Also, how can you tell early Chrome card from an RPPC? Is there something I should look for? Thanks again. So the first thing is flatbed scanners are too slow and cumbersome. You got to flip the card over. You got to do all this stuff. It's cumbersome. I had a I don't use flatbed scanners. I got one here. I think I've used it maybe one time this year for some kind of business thing or something. I couldn't get fitted through my other scanner. So it is not better. Have you ever damaged cards in the Epson? No, unless I did it myself. Unless I put something in that was too fragile, or I put it in crooked or slammed it in there. The Epson, I've never had any kind of card damaged in the scanner. The scanner has not damaged anything on there. And I wrote back to Claire and I said, postcards were made to be mailed. They'll be fine. Now, if you have glitter on there, it's called tinseling, add-on stuff, no, don't put those through your scanner. If you have something with ribbons and stuff like that, don't put that through your scanner. But cards like this, yeah, let them rip. They don't bend, they don't have anything like that stuff. Now, baseball cards and stuff like that, people, they do different things. That's a whole different niche. They're worried about a little corner where these things have been through the mail. and they are going to have some wear, and they are going to have some tanning, some writing on them, stuff like that. So no. The next thing is about Chrome Card RPPC. That's a big stretch from Chrome to RPPC. This is a Chrome. You can tell it anywhere. RPPCs have dots. You need to get one of these. They're little loops, jeweler loops. I got this one from Popeye. He sent it to me. Nice little one. It's got a little light on it. And I think I got them in the Ko-Fi store. You look for dots and stuff like that. And I sent you the link, but here's the video for RPPCs. But there's little dots, printed dots on there, and you can see in that video that I do that, and there's other videos people talk about real photo postcards in the history. Then the last one is thanks for the video. I watched your video where you talked about scheduled listings. I think I said that in the vacation video. A little every day for Saturday and Sundays. I have been doing the same thing and listing like 4 days a week now, and then have my scheduled listings for the other days. It has been so beneficial to get the time back. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it was just something that came to my head. So Monday through Friday I list every morning. I try to when I don't have other things going on. Say I got 50, I'm going to list 50 postcards. The first 5 goes up for the next Saturday, and the next 5 goes for Sunday. I do that Monday through Friday. So on Saturday and Sunday, they're scheduled 25 cards Saturday, 25 Sunday. So I'm listing 40 cards that actually go up, and 10 are scheduled. So at the end of the week, when Saturday and Sunday get here, I don't list, because I got 25 going off Saturday and Sunday. So I only list 5 days a week. She's doing it 4 days. And it's not hard to do. I just got a little piece of paper, and I put the date, and I have a little spreadsheet, and I just keep track of them on there. And it's been kind of nice. I know Adam, I think Pittsburgh Picker did that, and he had a whole day. He felt guilty. He said that he wasn't doing anything, but he knew that he had listings going off, so he had new ones going up on there. So that's what I do. Schedules are free now. You can schedule your listings for free up to 22 days, I think it was, 20 days out. So when I went on vacation, I did that. Now I got a question for somebody out there. I haven't been able to verify this, but I heard this the other day. When you put your store on time away on vacation, and you scheduled some listings, say you're going to be gone for 7 days, and you scheduled listings that go off, say 20 each of the 7 days. When you put your store on time away, they say if you have scheduled listings that go live, they don't get added to time away. So they're not part of your vacation schedule, and they don't extend the time on those. If you list or have scheduled listings while you're after you put time away on. Is that true on there? So if I have 1,000 listings in my store, I click time away, and I say still don't hide but sell, and I go on vacation, and say on vacation I list 10 items, they're stating that those 10 items will not be in the calculation for time away. Now I'm not going on vacation for a little while, so I haven't verified that. Has anybody ran into that or read that somewhere? More homework. But thanks, it's a lot of information today. Let me know about your reasons people fail or quit, and how are they successful. And go to school on those postcards. Don't pass those up. There could be some money there. Thanks for watching. Here's some fish.